Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Samantha back with another little video for us all to enjoy, hopefully. Happy 4th of July to my lovely US viewers. I hope you had a lovely and peaceful day. And for us guys in the UK, wow, what a few days it's been, huh? So we have a new government. Let's see what happens. But that's the end of my political, not even a speech, because I don't get into politics. Not on this channel. So let's have a look at this cute little guy. Okay, so a few weeks ago I started getting interested in chainmail. I've only really done wire wrap jewellery and beaded stringing and a little bit of macrame, that kind of thing. But recently I've been getting into chainmail, and I am totally a beginner. So I worked on this guy here, making lots and lots of errors, trial and error with the size of the jump rings and things like that, and I came up with this. So if I can make this, guys, then absolutely you can if you're a beginner too. I really like mandalas. I'm not one of those woo-woo types who, you know, I don't really go in for all of that sort of thing, but I do like a mandala. I think they're extremely pretty, and I kind of like the idea that they represent the circle of life and that kind of thing. So what do you think? Shall we go ahead and have a look at this? Yeah, why not? I was also chatting to one of my lovely Facebook group ladies, and she messaged me and said how she found tutorials from me and sitting down with me like sitting down with a friend, which I thought was absolutely a wonderful thing to say. And I have to say, I do feel like that myself. You guys are fast becoming friends that I've never met, which is lovely, isn't it? When you are the type of person I am, I don't really get to go out very often, and you guys, I do look forward to chatting with you. So with that in mind, get yourself a coffee or a tea, depending on where you are in the world. It could even be time for something else. I've got my coffee here. Grab a coffee and we'll go through making this beautiful pendant. Okay, so I'll see you in a few for a materials list. Righty ho, so materials list for this little beauty here. I'll just pop that there for now. First thing you're going to need for the central portion is simply a copper washer. This particular size fits with all of these jump rings, so you need to probably get this particular size. So the outer diameter is 14 millimeters. The inner diameter is 10 millimeters, and the thickness is 1 millimeter. Okay, so you're going to need that size of copper washer. You could probably just about get away with something just ever so slightly smaller or larger, but I suggest you get this size. So that's the first thing you'll need. So we come on to the jump rings. All right, so you're going to need quite a few 3 millimeter jump rings made from 1 millimeter copper wire. I make my own, and somewhere around here, up here, perhaps I will pop a video, one of my latest videos, where I show how I make my copper washers. Have you heard me? My jump rings. Okay, so I'll bob that up here somewhere. I don't know, here-ish. You're going to need some 4 millimeter jump rings, again made out of 1 millimeter copper wire, and you're just going to need a few 5 millimeter jump rings made with 1.25 millimeter wire. And as always, somewhere here I will put down the gauge equivalent for you guys that use gauges. Okay, what else are we going to need? I like to hammer my little copper washer, so if you want to, you'll need a bench block and a very basic chasing hammer, just to give it a little bit of a flatten and some texture. I'll pop that up there. You're going to need some 4 millimeter beads. Okay, so here, I think these are aventurine, I think, or they could be agate, I'm not sure, doesn't matter. But I'm going to use some cute little coloured agate ones for this particular one. All right, so you're going to need some 4 millimeter beads. What else are you going to need? The usual suspects, I call them. So some flush cutters. You're going to probably need some, no, you won't need those because you've already made your jump rings. By this time, hopefully you will have done. So you need some chain nose pliers. I'm using a couple of pairs because you do need to open and close all your jump rings. Use whatever ones you like. I know there are a lot of people that don't like using the straight ones. They like to use the curved ones. That's absolutely fine. Just use whatever you feel comfortable with. You may need a little file just to smooth the edges of your copper washer, if you so choose. And finally, you'll need some 0.5mm copper wire, or whichever wire you choose, just to do the wire wrapping of the beads around, there we go, around the edges of your mandala pendant, okay? And again, I'll put the equivalents to everything in the description box, all right? If I don't put it on the screen. All right, so I'm going to clear all this away and we'll get going. I think this is going to be a little bit more of a lengthy tutorial, but that's fine. We'll have a chat along the way. Let me know how you are and what you're up to. Okay, so I'll see you soon. And we are back. So let's have a look at this, shall we? So in the centre of my piece, I have a little copper washer, which I probably could get away with not hammering, but I like the way that it glints. You know, when you texture a piece of copper, it sort of catches the light. I quite like the way that looks. So this is a 14mm outside diameter and a 10mm inside diameter. So I'm going to give mine a little bit of a texturing, okay? So I'll either speed this up or I'll pop a bit of music over the top. So here we go. Bash the heck out of it and think about that horrible neighbour that throws bushes and things over your fence, that kind of thing. Actually, you know, my neighbours are really nice, so I don't get them throwing bits of foliage. But I do know that there are some people who have really nasty neighbours. So you know what, hammering the heck out of something is a really good thing. So I come in with my file, just give it a quick, a quick file. Just make sure all your edges are nice and smooth, that kind of thing. And there we have it. Okay, so there we are. That's our centre. So you need to come in now with quite a few 3mm jump rings. So I'll just pop quite a chunk of those. So 3mm jump rings made with 1mm copper wire. And you need to come in with your ever faithful chain nose pliers. Right, so what we need to do is pop jump rings around the center. All right, so I think there are, let's count these, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So you're going to need 20 rings. So I would start off by taking your jump rings. Best thing to do here is, I know it's a bit of a mess and a bit of a pain, but open all your jump rings up first. I've found this to my own cost, that when you make jump rings, if you don't open them all up first, it's a lot harder to put them on. So you need 20 of these little 3mm jump rings, which we'll put on together. Meantime, you guys can tell me what you've been doing. I know I've been absent actually. I usually like to post a couple of times a week because it gives me something to do, gives me something to aim for, and I enjoy the process of it. But sadly, this week, we've got a whole week in between, I'm afraid, and that's just because it's been quite a busy week My daughter has been taking exams at school, so that's been taking up a bit of my time, mainly because she's been quite anxious about it. She is neurodiverse and she does also have an autoimmune disease. So it's been a bit of a tough couple of weeks for her, but she's done really, really well to keep it together. So I've been supporting her really this week. So that's why you've only got one of these wonderful, amazing videos that I make. Well, you know, you've got to make sure that you blow your own trumpet, haven't you? Because nobody else blows it for you. So let me know what you've been doing. How many have we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so let's keep going. Skip through this part if you choose to. I may very well just cut it and come back to you when we've got 20 jump rings, just mainly so that you're not listening to me breathing down the camera and getting really bored with watching me putting these rings on. Sadly, this is the kind of thing that can get a bit boring if you're watching somebody else do it. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to pause here and we'll meet back when we've got 20 jump rings on. Okay, so I'll see you in a few. Righty ho, so we're back, and hopefully now you have 20 of these little 3mm jump rings around your central copper hoop. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we're going to be attaching, I shall show you on here. So these are the little jump rings, the 3mm ones all the way around. And the next thing we do is we're going to attach these larger 4mm jump rings. Okay, so but bear with me. Don't think you can't do this, because if I can, guys, you really totally can. Okay, I know most of my, well, all of my tutorials are beginner friendly. I don't want this to put you off. Genuinely, if I can do it, you can. So you need to come in now with your 4mm jump rings. All right, so we'll put that out of the way. So I'll take a few of these guys out, like so. All right, so next round that we have to do involves 2 jump rings through each of these two. So 2 4mm jump rings through each pair of jump rings. So I'll show you now. So we start here, separate 2 jump rings. Okay, so we need to come in with a 4mm and open this guy up, pop it through 2 jump rings, like so. Oops. Start again, Sam. So we pop it through 2 of your jump rings and close it up, like so. So can you see here? We have, come on, focus camera. There we go. So we have 1 jump ring through 2. So we get another 4mm. And we open this guy up just a little bit, like so. And again, through the same 2, we put another one through, like so. So essentially, you have 2 4mm jump rings through 2 3mm jump rings. You see that? So let's do another one. So open a couple of 4mm jump rings. This is going to be quite repetitive actually, guys, so I hope you don't get bored of listening to me saying 4mm jump rings, 3mm jump rings. Okay, so here we go with the next 4mm through the 2 of the 3mm together, like so. close that up, and a second one through. Don't cross them over, just make sure they are nice and flat, like so. All right, so again, you have 2 4s through 2 3s. Hope that makes sense. Just do one set more. So take a couple of 4mm. That's 1, that's 2. All right, so find the next 2 3mm and pop it through like so. Hope you can see that okay. Okay, you see that? I'm in a different room today, so I hope my camera copes with the light all right. My conservatory is just way too hot and way too sunny today. So number one, I'll cook myself and the dog. And number two, the light isn't great because there's way too many shadows coming through. So, all right, so as we can see here, we are literally putting 2 4s through 2 3s, 2 4s through 2 3s, 2 4s through 2 3s. All right, can you see how that's working? So you just need to do that all the way around, and then we'll meet back when we've done it. Can you see? 2 4s, 2 4s, and 2 4s each through 2 of the 3mm jump rings. So we'll meet back in a few minutes when we've done that. Okay, so I'll see you in a few. And we're back. So how are we getting on, guys? You should have something that resembles this little flower. Looks like a little flower, doesn't it? So you should have something that resembles this. So if you pick it up in your fingers and squash it in between your finger and your thumb like so, and just have a look and double check that in each of these 2 3mm jump rings you have 2 4mm. So just take this opportunity just to double check, and I say this from experience that you've got 2 4mm jump rings in each one of the 3mm. Okay, so because if you haven't, it's a right pain. Okay, so there we are. The next thing we need to do is come back in with our 3mm. So if we have a look at this little cutie here, we can see that we've got the 3mm around the centre, and then 2 4mm, okay, which is these guys here. So the next thing we need to do is to connect each of the 4mm, both of them, with 2 more 3mm beads. So essentially you're making the next round of the mandala, however you want to pronounce it. So each of the 4mm, the 2 of them, you need to connect with 2 3mm. All right, so I hope you're following along with this. So we take some of our cute little 3mm. Let me just pop that out of the way. So again, we open our little jump rings and we pop it through one set, okay, and then up through the next set. A little tight this, but as you can see here, we have 2 sets of 4mm jump rings connected by this one 3mm for now. So we close that up. All right, like so. So can you see how that, come on, focus camera. Can you see how that 3mm connects 2 sets of 2 4mm. All right, so we need to take another one. Oops, a little bit fiddly for my big gigantic hands, but should be fine. So we need to do this twice. So gets a little fiddly, but bear with it, because it all works out in the end. I've painstakingly worked out these sizes. The amount of jump rings I've been through working out how to do this. All right, so in isolation, I'll just show you this little unit here. So we have 3mm, 2 of them, 4mm, 2 of them, connected by 2 more 3mm. You see that? So the next thing we would do is put 2 3mm jump rings to connect these sets of 2 here. All right, so we'll do that. I really don't want you guys to be put off, because this is such a beautiful pattern. When I was sitting in my lounge swearing and trying to work out how many jump rings it should take, but it's well worth it in the end. So as you can see here, 3mm, okay, which connects and then up through the next lot of 4mm jump rings. Again, this can be slightly fiddly, but as you can see there, that's connected those 2. So let's get another one. Try to persevere with the fiddliness. Oops. I hadn't realised when I was sort of messing about just how precise the sizes need to be. So I was sort of experimenting with the different sizes. It is quite an art form, so all you chainmail artists out there, you've got my respect. Wow, because I am still obviously very much in the learning process here. So as you can see that? So we've got now 3 sets of 4 jump rings, 4mm jump rings, connected by 2 of the 3mm jump rings. So essentially you just go all the way around and connect them all up. So I'll just do one more and then I'll leave you guys to it, and we can meet back when we've got everything connected. Okay, so as you can see, up through the 4 here, and then up through the second lot of 4. So essentially you are just connecting all of the 4mm up with 3mm. So we need another one on that round. All right, so up and up through and tighten. All right, so can you see here how we're starting to get them all linked? You see, so we've got 4 sets linked here now. You see that? So go all the way around until each one of these sets of 2 4mm is connected by 2 3mm jump rings. All right, so we'll meet back when they're all connected, and then we'll go on to the next stage. You're doing really well, guys. And we're back, guys. So how are we getting on? Hope you're doing okay with this. I just wanted to show you a close-up here of what we're playing with. So I'm just going to put the last 2 3mm jump rings to close up these guys here. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to see how that works. Okay, so let's just put these final 2 3mm jump rings on, which go through those 2, through those 2, close that up. All right, and then one last one, and that's the next round of our mandala flower pendant. So up through and up through the final. Hello, Glory. You're going to come and sit under my table? Yes, you are. You all right, bud? There we go. All right, so as you can see here, we have finally done the next round of our mandala. Okay, so can you see how we have 2 of each of the 3mm here, and then 2 4mm that go through each of these sets, and then each of the 4mm. That's Glory making my table wobble. Stop it, stop it. each of these 4mm rings here are connected by 2 of the 3mm rings. All right, so I hope that's making sense so far. Right, so there we go. So that's our little flower. Now what I've noticed about chainmail, as I am learning myself as we go along, is just how fluid it is. Beautifully fluid. But I wanted something a little bit more structured so that it can sit nicely around the neckline. So the next thing we need to do is in each of these 4mm sections here, which are here, we want to place 2 more. Glory, he's making my camera wobble. You're going to have to go out, sunshine, if you carry on. We want to be putting 2 more 3mm jump rings in each of these guys here. So each of these along the 4mm ones, we want to put 2 3mm. Okay, I'm saying a lot of 2 and 3 and 2 and 4s, so I hope you're following along okay. So in here, like so, we want to place 2 3mm rings all the way around. All right, so there's 1 and there's 2 in there. Okay, so can you see that? So in each one of these guys, we want to place another 2 3mm beads, 3mm rings. Gosh. So up through and close, and then up through and close. All right, you see that? So I'll just do one more. Can you see now how in each of these 4mm we have 2 more 3mm. So I'll just do one more set here. I hope you can see that. Let's pop that out of the way. All right, so I hope you can see. So in this next one here, through both of the 4mm rings, we place 2 more 3mm. Keep going, guys, it's worth it in the end, I promise. Righty-ho. So there we are. So can you see how in each of these 4mm we have 2, 2, 2 and 2. All right, 2, 2, 2 and 2. So all the way around in each one of these 4mm rings, the double rings, you need to put 2 more 3mm rings. All right, so we'll meet back when you've completed that part. Hope you can see that. Is that, can you see what I've done there? 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more. Okay, so I'll see you in a few minutes when you've done that. Right then, guys, how are you doing? I think, you know what? I think if you've got to this point here, you deserve a giant piece of chocolate cake or lemon drizzle, or let's have a think, coffee and walnut. Oh, Black Forest Gatto. Have a piece of cake, guys. You absolutely deserve it. Right, so here we are. We've got to this point here. So what we have is another 2 of these little 3mm jump rings coming out of every one of these sets of 4mm jump rings. So I'm hoping that you can see this on the table here. So let's just pop these ones out and close together so that you can see them. All right, how does that look? Okay, so 2 3mm, 2 4mm, connected by 2 3mm, and then 2 more 3mm coming out. All right, so that's what we should have. So at this point here, we're on this round here. All right, so the next thing we need to do is to bring out these thicker, larger jump rings to bring everything in together. All right, so you want to now come in with your 5mm jump rings made from 1.25, which I think is 16 gauge, I think, if I remember rightly. Again, I'll put everything in the description box, or indeed on the screen when I'm editing, for you lovely guys who use gauge equivalents. Okay, so now then, the next part is a little slight touch different, and I'll show you why. From the start here, we've just been connecting rings parallel to each other. As you can see, these are all parallel. When we are putting these new rings in, we want to take 1 ring from the left and 1 ring from the right and connect them. 1 ring from the left, 1 ring from the right, and connect them. So we have this nice sort of arrow point affair here. All right, so let me show you what I mean. So you come in with your larger jump ring, like so. Open it up. Pop these out of the way, then we can focus on what we're doing. So can you see here how we have these 2 jump rings coming out? We want to take 1 from one side and 1 from the other and connect them. All right, so not both together, but 1 from each side. Oops. All right, so can you see how that works there? All right, so let's close that one up and I'll show you another one. So close that up. So can you see there? 1 from one side, 1 from the other. So let's do that again. So take your larger jump ring. Can you see how we have 2 in the centre? So we want to take the one on the left and attach it to the one on the right. Like so, and then close it. All right, so can you see how we're doing that? So it's this one and this one, so that we have this. Ooh, let's just sort that guy out. Sometimes your jump rings will do this, but that's okay. Just straighten them up. There we go. So I'll just do one more. And hopefully I'm explaining this okay. So out of the 2 jump rings that are centered here, we want to be connecting this one and this one. So can you see how it makes that sort of crossed effect? Come on, there we go. Okay, so can you see that? And then so can you see how that works? So each one of these sections here has 2 jump rings parallel next to each other. So when we're attaching this guy, we want to take one from each of the sections and put them together like so. Okay, so again we have these 2 in the center. So when we're attaching that jump ring, we want this one and this one so that they meet and cross like so. All right, so I'll just do one more and then I will leave you guys to it. You can have at it and connect all of these little, whoops, there we go. Honestly, my house is just full of stray jump rings at this point, and I'm sure yours is the same. So, can you see that? All right, so just carry on all the way round until you have all of your sections joined like so. All right, like so. And I'll meet you back in a few. All right, so I'll see you soon. All right guys, so how did we get on with that? As you can see here, I've gone all the way round and I literally just have these 2 little jump rings left. Again, one from one side, one from the other. So let's just put this final larger jump ring on. Hopefully you're managing to keep up and I'm explaining what I mean properly, hopefully. So there we go. You see that? So that's the final larger jump ring. So let's have a look at how this looks now, shall we? There we are. So we have this cute little flower looking mandala looking thing. Isn't that gorgeous? And I thought about making it into a bracelet to start with, which I probably will do at some point, but then I just fancied putting beads around it. So I mean, I think I would probably put cord, you know, two strips of cord on either side, and you can have a nice fluid bracelet focal piece. But let's turn this into a more solid pendant, shall we, by just literally wire wrapping some beads. All right, so there's a couple of things to note here. Let's get our beads. All right, there's a couple of things to note here. Now, whilst we've used a higher gauge, or a lower gauge, should I say, you know, a thicker wire, we do still have a join here. So just one point of interest is that when we start to wire wrap, we want to make sure that those joins are hidden in between each of these, right? So I want you to, when you're wrapping, make sure your join is here inside. Once you've wire wrapped, everything is sturdy and it probably won't move too much, so you shouldn't have any problem with the wrapping wire. Plus, secondly, I've used slightly thicker gauge wrapping wire so that if these rings do happen to move a little bit, it's not going to fall through the cracks, if that makes sense. All right, so every time you wire wrap, make sure that the join is hidden inside here, not up here, not at the sides, down here. All right, so that's just a bit of housekeeping. So let's bring in our 0.5mm wire. Again, like with everything else that I do like to have a little bit more too much than not enough. All right, so I'm going to suggest you use as much as you like to wrap. Some people can wrap with shorter pieces. I can't, sadly. I much prefer to wrap with a piece longer than I need, which does really mean that I do have a little bit of waste, but hey ho. So let's have a look what beads we have. Okay, so let's start with a nice deep blue one, shall we? Yep, that looks good. So let's bring in our piece. Now when we're wire wrapping, it solidifies everything and everything gets a little bit more sturdy. So can you see here? Come on, focus, camera, honestly. This jump ring join is at the bottom here. So through, like so, about halfway, and then through the ring. Okay, you can adjust a little bit. If you find that your jump ring moves a little bit, don't worry about that. Tighten that up. Hopefully you can see this. I am working through the camera here, guys, so bear with me. If I go off shot a little bit, I do apologise, but you get the idea. Okay, so that's 2. How many did I do here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so through the jump ring again and out the other side. Now for me, I use my pliers mainly because my hands are arthritic and I just find it easier. And final time through and pull. All right, so tidy this up a little bit, just give it a bit of a squeeze. So we have this. So again, ensuring that the join is in the center. This moves around a little bit at the moment. So put our bead on, which we're going to join in between. So making sure everything is nice and secure and tight in there. Can you see how the join here is at the top? So I move that down to the center. All right, and thread your wire through and pull tight, like so. Thread it through your loop again, your jump ring should I say, and pull it tight. And again, pull the wrap tight. Keep things nice and tidy. How are you getting on with this, guys? Are you following along okay? Let me know in the comments. Slightly more involved tutorial this time, but well worth it, I think. Okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4 and up, and then one more through. So 4 wraps on either side. Feel free to use your pliers and pull. So there we go. So there's our first bead attached. All right, so all you need to do to come in with your cutters. Can you see how I've got a little bit of waste there, but hey ho, I don't mind. I don't mind at all. I think mainly because it just gives you a little bit more leeway. You just want to tidy this up at the back. making sure that there's no sharp edges, because this is going to sit against the skin. Okay, so make sure everything is nice and tight. Right, so there's our first little bead. How beautiful is that? That's going to look gorgeous, isn't it? So I think, what shall we have next time? Yellow one, pink. Let's go for a pink one. Okay, so I'll do one more, so I'm not boring you. You're probably bored now anyway, but hey ho, I make these videos for me. Well, and for you really, but you know, I enjoy doing these, so part of my therapy, I think. Right, so again, we want to start wrapping on this side of this jump ring. So through and over and out the back. So coming with my little pliers and pull that taut. All right, so back through, pull, back through, and pull, and back through once more, and pull. Okay, just tidy that up a little bit. All right, you see that? So we are now on for our next jump ring. So again, if you can see that the join is there, you want to twist that round so that the join sits in between here. All right, so let's put this little pink bead on now, if I can see what I'm doing. All right, so through this jump ring, the next one along. Shift this guy out of the way. So pull nice and taut, not too much that you snap your wire, obviously. Back through and pull taut. Tidy things up if you need to. You see that? So that's one. This is 2 and 3 and 4. So each one of these will have a wrap with 4 wraps. All right, so turn it over onto the back side. Just snip off your excess. Again, don't come at me. Tighten this guy up, squish it down a little bit, and this one, just to make sure that everything is nice and neat. Everything is nice and neat. All right, so now you have the principle of that. All you have to do now, guys, is to literally go around attaching your little 4mm beads with 4 wire wraps all the way round. Okay, and we'll meet back when we've done that, and then we're almost done. Nice one, guys. You're doing really well. Right, we're back, guys. How are we getting along? I'm nearly at the end now, so I just thought I would go through doing the last bead. So there we are. So we go through and pull with our little pliers. I hope you've enjoyed making this. They're absolutely gorgeous, and you can use any kind of beads that you like as long as they sort of fit. 4mm these are, obviously, but I think you could possibly get away with something bigger or even something a little smaller, just as long as they fit in. Let me just pull that through, and one more. So I hope you've had fun. You can make these in all sorts of different coloured materials too, different metals. I think it would look gorgeous in gold, actually. If you've got any gold filled or, you know, gold plated wires. I think that would look equally as beautiful. So here we are with our last bead. Let's pop that on 4 wraps and then we'll be done. So that's 2 and 3 and the last one. 4 wraps, nice and neat. Oh, there we go. Right, so we'll just turn that over, get rid of these. Oh, look, that's a bit of a long bit. Never mind, Sam. Not to worry. Life's too short to worry, isn't it? There we are. Just make sure that's nice and secure at the back. I mean, you can do a better job than me because I'm doing it through the camera as usual. Okay, so there we go. How is that beautiful, beautiful mandala pendant? So the last thing you need to do is to just give each one of these beads a gentle tug, so that it just opens things up a little bit and stops it, you know, stops it from cupping up a little bit. So just give them a little tug. Hopefully I've worked this out so everything fits nicely and there's no sort of cupping up or distortion. The last thing we need to do is to take one of our 5mm jump rings, or a larger one if you like. You can put a cord through here, or I wouldn't suggest a copper chain because I just think it's too much copper, but again, you know, that's just me. So let's have a look where we're going to fit this guy. Let's pop it here. Okay, so you just literally put a larger jump ring in for your cord or your ribbon even, or a different colour tone metal necklace chain, anything you like. It's entirely up to you. So I really, really hope that you've enjoyed making these. How beautiful are they? Gorgeous, aren't they? So you can make any type of jump ring in any metal, any beads, any colour beads. I think the next one I make will have sparklies around. So let's just, I'm not going to use this cord because it's got a silver end, but let's just have a look and see how it looks on a cord. I might even use like a very, very bright pink cord for this one. Let's have a look. Gorgeous, aren't they? How beautiful. So there you are. I hope you managed to follow along all right. It wasn't too complicated. Like I've said before, you know what? If I can make these, then you guys can make these too. All right. So have lots and lots of fun. Let me know in the comments how you get along and enjoy. And hopefully I will see you midweek for another cute little, probably a little quick video. Not as long as this one. And I'm hoping to release this on Saturday evening. So if you're here on Saturday, then welcome to my channel. I'll speak to you soon, guys. Thanks for being here as always. It's lovely.